I come from a family of 2 parents and we are all girls.
I'm also from a family of 2 parents. And I'm the last born out of 6. Tukiendanga shule. Ui. Ukisikia tu gari imegurumishwa na hujatoka. Beginning with his wife, she was not an exception, including my mother. If that car is good and you are not in that vehicle, you will plan for yourself because he didn't like being kept too much. Like he was patient, but he had like a threshold.
I think there was a certain aspect of fear that was instilled in us where you were expected to be in a certain way.
I think there are 3 phases to my dad's and I relationship. So at the beginning, like I said, when I was younger, the memories I have, I was always around this guy. Like he would come take me out of school early. We had like an interesting relationship. I just remember he used to spoil me a lot. Then there's another phase where now he withdrew. Yeah, and for a long time, I somehow blamed myself. And I don't know why, for me, in my head, I never used to think like my dad was a human. Like he's prone to depression, he's prone to discouragement, he's prone to, like for me, he was just my hero. I'm like, you're unbreakable, you're unbeatable, you are the dad.
It's like you thought your dad was Superman.
Yeah, he was my main guy. So I didn't understand how, what do you mean you get, what is stressing you? Like I didn't understand that even he was a human being navigating difficulty or seasons in life that we couldn't understand.
Did your father show something like favoritism? For me, I saw my dad as a bad father, but a good person.
I now got the opportunity to be fully hugged when I was in my 30s.
Mimi nilikuwa naandikianga wazazi wangu letters nikiwaambia venye nitajimada. By the way, hey guys, trauma. If there's anyone I think was tried to commit suicide wakiwa shule, mara kama sijui ngapi ni mimi. I used to jig.
When it comes on love, structure, roots and wings, how was it for you people?
Hey. Utakata. Itabidi ukate.
Ukata. Please.
Kata. Na si keki. Thanks, Dad.
Welcome to the Identity Project podcast. This is where we get to have interactive conversations revolving around becoming so that we live victoriously and lead others to do the same. My name is Kevin Tindi and thank you so much for being here. You are a regular, truly appreciate. You are a newbie, hit the subscribe button. Thank you so much for being here. We do appreciate you, and because of that, we have a number of announcements. And one is we have a WhatsApp channel. You can just click the link at the bottom and you will be able to join. This is for communication purposes and there's so much that is coming up. Another thing that we started because I figured out that many people reach out to me, especially on TikTok when it comes to matters, prayer and just word of advice, counseling and maybe 1 or 2 things. And so every Monday I am on TikTok from 9:30 to 10:30 for prayers. So you can join me. My link is also down there at the bottom of the screen. Grab a copy of the Identity Project book. Yes. And it goes on 3 platforms. 1, you can get it at Nyawira online bookstore. They deliver everywhere across this country. 2, you can get it on Amazon. And 3, you can get it through my website, www.kevintindi.com. Unaweza sema hiyo?
www.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, kevintindi.com, and we will all be able to walk through this journey of living victoriously so that we lead others to do the same. You know that today we are having an interesting conversation together with the ladies, and this is for the ladies and the men in their lives.
Hello.
We did an episode for the men and the ladies in their lives. Now this is for the ladies and the men in their lives. By the way, you can go, if you haven't watched, you can go. We talked about a lot, and this was during Father's Day. And so we want to see it from a lady's perspective. Identity and the issue of fathers and how it can affect either positively or negatively. I will build from what we talked about the other episode. So it is very, very key. The link is up there. You can just get to click it if you haven't, so that you can be able to follow on this conversation. So, to introduce.
Well, hello, people. My name is DianaRose, Nyawira, and Katie is my brother. He's a good friend, and I'm also a worship minister. Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Faith Mutai, and I'm a very good friend to Kevin Tindi. I call him father of two.
Yeah.
And counting.
Ningekuwa Mchinese, ningekuwa baba yao.
Yeah.
Hapo normally inasama.
Yeah, so we spoke about in the previous episode how we are living in a world where the mirror has broken. And since the mirror has broken, we are finding that fathers make mistakes, children make decisions. They can either make decision to be like their father or otherwise. And also another thing that we talked about is, since the mirror has cracked, we are finding that there's a lot that is happening. I mentioned about how people are in prison. We find that people are suffering from gender identity disorder. We find that from the survey where Simon Bevy did on 3,000 Kenyans with the aim of what young people thought about their fathers, 20% say that they had a good father. That means, one, some never had a father. This is now the 80%. Two, they were underfathered. This means the father does not play an active role in their lives. And three, they were misfathered. This can mean the father was abusive, violent, drunkard, and all those. And so how has a father been in your life in terms of this journey of identity?
So let me give context. I come from a family of two parents, and we are all girls. So the only testosterone in the house is my father. So I usually say he's very pimped with 5 ladies in the house.
Wow.
Hallelujah.
So with that, I think growing up has been, we never felt that having a brother was of a miss. It was very interesting to just have a father as the only male dominant in the house. And how that has shaped the identity that we all have. I'll speak on behalf of my sisters, would be having a very firm individual who is very focused. My father loves that word, focus. And it's something that I think has driven him all these years. And he's really inculcated within our family. And should I say there's no room for error, but it happens. But then that's how it has always been. I wouldn't call it a military way of being brought up, but he's really tried to have the balance between having ladies around and also trying to maintain his male side.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I can only imagine how it is.
Yeah.
I'm also from a family of two parents, and I'm the last born out of 6. So I think my dad is he passed on. I don't know how to articulate it. So I'll say is. So he's a very interesting guy. So growing up, my memories of him was he and I were very close. Yeah, I would always.
Last born's father.
I think it's more of a girl and dad relationship, I think. But I was always hanging around that guy. Yeah, we do road trips together. I was always somehow very fond of him. And then later on, he became a bit more reserved. You know, he was navigating through something in his life, and his personality kind of changed. And then he became a bit more reserved as an individual. But he was still, dad ndiye alikuwa kusema. Yeah, so to get things done, you'd go to mom and you're like, mom, please. You plead your case, and then mom, playing the role of the advocate, would now go and plead your case, and dad would be like, okay, or no, or so he was a typical African Kenyan dad. But on top of that, he was also a very loving, very open, he was very accepting of people, very generous. And I think he was also very present as a dad. Yes, not talkative, not very vocal as a human
But
being.
he will say something.
And yeah, as in, yes. He was those guys. Kwanza remember tukiendanga shule, ukisikia tu hiyo gari imegurumishwa na hujatoka. Beginning with his wife, she was not an exception, including my mother. If that car is good and you are not in that vehicle, you will plan for yourself, because he didn't like being kept too much. Like, he was patient, but he had like a threshold. So we would all hear the car being started and you're all now trying to gather your things and rushing out of the door. So I think there was a reverence of his authority as a dad. But also, I think for me, he was always a friend. Yeah, he was always a friend. Somebody that I could vent to, somebody that I respected and honored his counsel. And just somebody I liked being around and hanging out with him. Yeah.
I think when it comes to the comings and goings of life, sometimes you may get to a place that you find we experience like something like what you're talking about your dad, and it changes how you relate with people and how you even relate to yourself. Maybe just to ask that, how did that affect you?
So I think there are three phases to my dad's and I relationship. So at the beginning, like I said, when I was younger, the memories I have, I was always around this guy. Like, he would come take me out of school early. He would come take me out of school early so that we could go pick her up from Nanyuki. So we had like an interesting relationship. I just remember he used to spoil me a lot. I used to eat a lot of chocolate, like sweets. My teeth were so black. My siblings make fun of me, saying, "Anyway, you too much." Then there's another phase where now he withdrew. Yeah, and for a long time I somehow blamed myself, because he went through a life experience that devastated him, which he lost his business through a fire, and I think it changed a lot of his personality. He was already a calm, reserved guy, but he also had his moments, za uchokozi, his good feel side.
Yeah.
And then when this experience happened, he became he really quieted down. Even most of his friends that he used to hang out with, he kind of just like cut them off and just became a very introverted human being.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, I thought that I was the problem. Like, I thought like I did something that made him disconnect with me. Yeah. And I blamed myself. And up until maybe I don't know if it was in high school when I was going through like some bullying experience. And then I just had a moment with my mom and I was like, I don't understand. What did I do to dad? Like, what did I do? Because now I didn't feel like I had the freedom at that point to like approach him the way I used to. He wasn't as playful with me as he was before. And low-key, it affected me, because I kept thinking that, okay, then I must have done something that made his love towards me stop. And so it was through that candid conversation, my mom was like, no, your dad as a human being has just gone through a lot. And I don't know why, for me in my head, I never used to think like my dad was a human. Like, he's prone to depression, he's prone to discouragement, he's prone to, like, for me, he was just my hero. I'm like, you're unbreakable, you're unbeatable, you are the dad.
It's like you thought your dad was Superman.
Yeah, he was my main guy. So I didn't understand how, what do you mean you get, what is stressing you? Like, I didn't understand that even he was a human being navigating difficulty or seasons in life that we couldn't understand. So up from that conversation, my mom just urged me. She was like, you know what? You are who you are. God made you the way you are. You've always been this bubbly personality. You are the cartoon of the house. Don't change who you are. Love him the way you used to. And be consistent in and so me, I decided, oh, you know what? Sawa dad. Mimi utanichukua venye niko. And that began, I think, a journey of healing and restoration between us. Whether he knew it or not, or whether I knew it or not. But from that moment on, I went back to being my childish or like childlike self around him. I would always be like, hi, love you, dad, good morning. And I would play around with him. I would hug him, even though at the beginning he used to be like very stiff and not engaged. I would go to him. And over the years, up until, he passed away, like, I can confidently say my dad was my boy. Like, he was my friend. In fact, my siblings used to say, hey, is the only one that is allowed to hug dad. And I'm like, no, that's not true. I worked hard for this relationship. I was intentional. Yeah. Yes, I was intentional to rebuild and break down those walls that he had as a dad, and remind him, by the way, imagine, we are your safe space. As your children, as your family, we will never reject you. We will never condemn you. We love you for who you are. We accept you for who you are. And we just want to enjoy your essence and your value as a father and also as a human being. So I think that would be the third phase. And I was able to now reconnect with him, not only as a dad, but as a friend.
I think what I'm picking from you is sometimes we expect our fathers to be Supermen, not knowing that Superman also has kryptonite. Because there are moments that you feel like you are, as in, I can't do this. There are moments of failures. There are moments like what you talked about, as in something happens to you. And it doesn't mean that he's changed, but it means that you are to support him so that he can be able to come back to how he was, or maybe something.
Yeah, because if you think about it, we were a family of 6. He was the main breadwinner. And I remember before this business like got down or got banned, like we were doing really, really, really well. And then for this incident to happen, in fact, I remember before the shop got banned, my dad had actually just convinced my mom to resign from work, because he was like, we're doing well. This business is sustaining us. So please, you stop working. You don't need to take care of the babies. And my mom had handed over the resignation. But some miracle, that is Jesus Christ, that resignation letter was never found up to date.
Seriously?
Yes, because my mom went to a fellow pastor and she was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is the situation that I'm in. I have just resigned. Our shop got burnt over the weekend. I don't know what I'm going to do. And we have to now take care of these 6 children who are in good schools. And we are all tumefuata na hivi. So there's none that can be postponed. Their education, we're all kind of already in the space. And that pastor just prayed with her and told her, you know what, go to report to work on Monday. Like nothing ever happened. And just continue. And for true, that letter was never found. Wow. And from then on, my mom became the breadwinner. So I understand from my dad now, in hindsight, when I think about it, it was such a huge loss, not only for the investment he had put, but also as a man, having given this family such a great life, and then out of nowhere, it being rescinded, and now him not knowing where even to begin or how he was going to navigate that space. And I think men of that generation, there was no therapy. Who is therapy? Where is therapy? Who are you? Who are you going to communicate? All his friends were of the same league. They were wealthy guys. So now, having lost everything, I think my dad also, in his own way, didn't know how to reach out. And I think maybe they could have helped him but I think he just didn't know. He just didn't know how to fix it, because he's, as a guy, he was meant to take care of people and fix things. Yeah. And he didn't know what to do. And so I would say, became a shell of himself for a long time, which now is what I would call depression. I think he was just navigating too much, and none of us knew how to access that space or to, encourage him, up until later on,
Through a book I was going through, Broken Boy, Wounded Man. It talks about fathering the heart versus fathering for performance. And this brings the contrast. As you grew up, there was either the fathering the heart or the fathering for performance. And I'm going to mention them so that we are able to know. Alafu sasa utajua where you fall. So when it comes to fathering the heart, it's more about transformation. It's more about, there's a safe atmosphere where I think it was you who mentioned, as in, there's no room for error.
Hey.
So fathering the heart, it's a safe atmosphere where it's like you can make mistakes, but the mistakes are those that make you to be able to become better. Like, for example, I feel for my daughter. I learned nowadays, my wife and our house manager, whenever my daughter makes a mistake, you hear daddy, and Eliana is like, no. And sometimes I just go to her and I don't want to beat her. But for her, she's like, she knows I'm going to beat her, because I have tried to create that safe atmosphere. Fathering the heart is about future development. You allow them to be. And it's about you walk alongside her. I take walks with her and everything. Even as she's journeying through life, I walk alongside her. And you believe the best. And another thing about fathering the heart is priority is change. But when it comes to for performance, it's different. For fathering, for performance, it's not transformation, but you conform to a certain standard. Another thing is there's no safe atmosphere. It's an atmosphere of fear. Yani you even fear making mistakes. It's like you're walking on eggshells. Another thing when it comes to fathering for performance, it prioritizes parental control. Unajua me, I remember for my dad, we used to go with him to drink. Mi nilikuwa na kunywa soda. Unajua that time soda ilikuwa kubwa unaishika hivi. Fanta. And for me, I will just sit there while he's drinking. And I can't misbehave. I can't do anything wrong. Wageni wakikuja, hiyo ndo ile time. Unajua ile time yenye unaangaliwa tu na sura.
It's the eyes that do the talking.
The eyes have done the talking. Yeah. Bombastic side eye.
Very big ones.
So that is now fathering for performance, where it prioritizes parental control. I remember also for this is now my mom. My mom used to say, usikunywe chai iko na sukari kwa sababu utapata diabetes. But I learned she was controlling us not to take sugar so that watu watakunywa saa zile wageni wamekuja. And also, it's because she did not have enough money.
Yeah, dental.
So she used that, yeah, okay.
Yeah, she used that as nini. And then another thing about fathering or mothering for performance, it's about being hard on children. You assume the worst. If a child is carrying maybe a glass plate, you assume atapasua. They will break
Pasua
it.
yote.
Oh my God.
Trauma. Maliza yote.
Yeah, and also another thing is fathering or that for performance, it's about you focus on the status quo. Hata niwache mcheke. It's okay.
Unajua iko nikaa kwa hapa.
Oh my
Maliza
God.
yote, vunja yote.
It's the livunje pia. Hata mimi livunje.
Unajua mimi nakumbuka moja, unaenda kuchapa. Anaenda kukuchapa, alafu ukablock.
Una dunk ama unaamini.
Unataka kuniua? Unataka kuniua? Si uniue basi. Yeah, so did you experience the performance side or the heart side?
I think there was a certain aspect of fear that was instilled in us where you were expected to be in a certain way. You don't even question because nisikwe nimechoma, but ni ukweli. You'd be expected to be in like if it's school, of course they understood every child's capability of performance, and not all of us were not in the same category. We could put ourselves in, everyone had their own strengths.
Yeah.
And I think every time we'd do exams, I'd be so nervous personally. And I'd really try and put in extra hours to try and ensure my grades are looking good, because for me, I really had to put in more hours so that I'd be able to have a good performance. So when it comes to now end of the term, you're giving your report card. I remember my dad would be like, okay, here today, what have you gotten? And he'd look at my report card and then he'd be like, last term, what did you? So he'd do a comparison and he'd be like, okay, you've tried in subject X, you've tried in whatever, your position is somehow. Next time, try and do X, Y, Z and revise and do that. So he'd be very guiding and with love. Okay. But there are days he'd be like, Apa umechoma, you are not serious. I could notice even during the time when you're preparing for your exams, you were doing X, Y, Z. Please rectify that. So he'd correct in love. And me, I was a very cheeky kid. Ninachoma picha. But he used to be very understanding. I'll give you a scenario. When I was a kid, I was very naughty, and I'd noticed the wall is so white. It requires character. That's how I noticed my creativity. So I'd be like, okay, let's do something. So nafanya hapo ka mural, nimechora, nimefanya all manner of things. So I remember the first time I did that, my dad looked at me, alinichapa. He's like, what are you doing? This is a white wall and it is there because it has to be white. What are you trying? Nikasema tu, I'm sorry, of course, alinichapa. The following day, I did the same thing. Shout out to my crayons. I did the thing. Kwanza this time nilifanya very nice. I don't know what I do, but I did it. So I remember my dad came. I was so shaken. So when he came, he just looked at me. Misa yo nimeshake ni kama. So when he looked at me, he just went. Nikajua bas, ameenda kutafuta the biggest kiboko in the house.
Club kiboko.
Yeah. Anichape ingine, my friend. So he never came. He just looked at me and continued with his routine, evening routine. The following day I didn't write. And that was it. Nilimalizi hapo. Like I didn't. I was like art and craft kwenye kitabu na si ukuta.
Look at you.
Well, I continued in another.
Nilifanya face painting.
No, nilifanya 4 years art and design. So
There you go.
so I took it on other ninis. But yes. Other than that, I think tuseme tu he had a way of correcting in love, and he ensured that he has that balance of not being tough in as much as he instilled fear in all of us. But there was the aspect of being disciplinary, and there's the aspect of being lenient.
Okay.
I think he had a way of being able to balance both.
Because that's one of the things about fathers being the male expression of God. Because one of the things besides protection, providing, is they instill discipline. And they also confer identity. Okay, for me, I see your father as the one who was fathering the heart. Because discipline,
he did.
hata Bible inasema.
Lazima. Very biblical.
Yeah, I think I'd say my dad did father our hearts, and because the times amenichapa, I think I can count them. And my dad had this thing where when he disciplined you, I always make fun of it, like as a light note. But honestly, to me, it's such a testimony. Like if he addressed something with you through a beating, that sin, whatever that thing you are doing, will leave you. It will just depart from you. He will deliver you from your wicked ways. Ni babangu alikuwa anakuchapa. Kama ulikuwa naiba, hiyo wizi inaishia hapo. Kama ulikuwa unadanganya, inaishia hapo. But at least let me speak for myself. My siblings, I know they were still very cheeky. But yeah, my dad, I think alinichapa like maybe 3 or 4 times. I'm actually 3.
Your entire life?
2, yeah. He never, but I was also not that child. I was not Nini. I was not as cheeky as this girl them over here.
That Sazile, when he last born, 6, number 6, amesha choka kuchapa.
Akunanga kitu kama hiyo. In the Mwangi house, you will, you don't get tired. You don't tire from doing the Lord's work. Apana.
I've had some people say
that doesn't relate to our generation. No.
Thing, and this is a confession for folks. I find it hard kuchapa tire.
Katie, wewe, you are just
I'm learning.
You are just in fact, sisi ndio tunawanga tumefanywa. Amefanya practice na wa kwanza, wa pili, wa tatu, wa nne. Right now they already have like a guideline on how to instill greatness in you. Yeah, so I don't think he was but yeah, I think also for the rest of my siblings, we weren't, unless ni tabia tu yako au kuona chapwa unnecessarily. Like he would give you a warning. In fact, atasikia umeambiwa na mom, the first time umeambiwa Faith, stop stealing the sugar. Okay, number 1. Asikia umeambiwa tena. Now when he intervenes, now that is like he allowed you to to just allow the Holy Spirit to help you conform, you refused. He's like, okay, Holy Spirit, just give me a minute. Let me address this. Let me address this child. And when he deals with you, Holy Spirit anakuja, oh, sorry. Yes, nilikwambia, wacha itabia. So nilikuwon. Yeah, so I think for me, my dad, he did allow us to be ourselves. He loved and nurtured us, but he was also not, he didn't condone certain behaviors. Like for him, it was no. Neatness. Hey, I remember my brothers, wakiwa high school, me and those boys, now I love, but what was wrong with you guys? Walikuwa nakujanga nyumbani wanakaa tu, like, and my dad would be like, nifunge macho, nifungue. Hiyo nywele, sitaki kuiona, ikikaa hivyo. Because he was always a very neat guy. Dad was always clean shaven, not clean, okay, not this glory clean, but he had, he was always short hair, his nails were always cut, he was very clean, very presentable. There are just some things he could not have. Yeah. So basic things kama hizo, and my mom as well. Mama alikuwa tu lewa, nimesema, nisikie, nione hiyo. Yeah, so mom was the vocal one. Dad was the silent but deadly one. He moves in the shadows.
Interesting. This thing is helping, especially men, because since you're a man, you are being groomed to become a father. And for me, I say fatherhood begins the moment you were born and you become a man. It's only that time hasn't come yet, but it's going to come. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 4, because I see like you people were being brought up in Christian nini. Mimi sikuwa raised in a Christian family. Wow. Sisi church tulijiona kuchachisha. Ephesians 6:4 says, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. Do not exasperate them to the point of resentment with demands that are trivial or unreasonable or humiliating or abusive, nor by showing favoritism or indifference to any of them, but bring them up tenderly with loving kindness in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. 4 children, 6. Sisi pia ni 4. So,
high five.
But unajua angalia last born. By the way, pia mimi ni last born.
Si high five juni last born.
Ndio kama tumeka pamoja. But you see the thing
this shows authority. Are we together?
Sawa, kuja ukae hapo basi.
Switch. Amka.
Index 1. I'm just thinking, growing up, you were being brought up in a Christian household. Did your father show something like favoritism? Did he not provoke you, or he provoked you to anger? Did he exasperate you to a place of resentment? Did he bring you up in a place that there was loving kindness, though I heard you mentioned about it? How was it like in relation to this scripture? Okay, mine wasn't a Christian home, but one thing I remember about my dad, I felt like my dad made me to hate some things. Because instead of allowing me to do them, he denied me. One, I remember when we used to close school tunaenda ushago. And that was me, not my sisters. Another thing is my dad used to focus on me. Unafaa kusoma usicheze ball. Mimi nilikuwa napenda ball sana. But I used to study. Mimi kustudy ilikuwa kazi. Yani for me to study was something I couldn't put together. Me by the way, even in high school, though my dad died when I was in standard 7, me getting 16% in maths was like a miracle. Anicheke tu. At least nilikuwa napata endelea. Endelea kufanya vizuri.
Would have been, okay, not exceeding expectations, but we're exceeding something. We're exceeding.
You're laughing at me. Endelea tu. Utakam. Endelea tu. Endelea.
Hi.
Me, that was that was my dad. Another thing about my dad is I feel like alikuwa ananikazia in this way, like I felt like he brought me to the place of resentment. He had money, but he couldn't give the money, but he will spend it on other people. I mentioned in the other one that for me, I saw my dad as a bad father, but a good person. Because people will come and say, hey, your dad is good. But for me, I'm like,
Mi sijaiona.
I can't see. And some of the things that my dad did, I remember my dad bought me Bata shoes. That was the last time he bought me shoes. You know, Bata then was like the
Bata.
Bata. I remember there was a time we went to Gikomba. We used to go to Gikomba, by the way, with my dad, like every Saturday. In fact, my dad was strict when it comes to time. Nakumbuka I was in Kongoni, and then on Saturday we used to go to school, and he will tell me we meet at 2:00 City Stadium, so that we go to Gikomba. Manze, saa zingine class inaisha 1:30. Manze, you have to run to City Stadium, and it's far from South Sea to City Stadium. You have to go home, and I will get there late. My dad will beat me. Yani, I remember we will go to Gikomba, and yani hata uwezi sema nasikia kwenda choo. Heri ujikojole. Because the fear that he brought in me, because I won't say, I saw there was no room for me to be myself. And also my dad bought me high heel shoes. A true story. Alinibaia pumps.
Because
my dad came home late. And kuna kuanga na zile mapaper bags za kitambo, the ones that had calendars. The green ones, ilikuwa yellow.
yeah.
Taskis?
No.
Si Taskis, ilikuwa tu paper bags.
Najua, alafu
I
inachorwa
can't remember.
elephants. Ama inachorwa tiger.
Paper ya plastic paper.
A green, specific
There
green.
was green, there
Then
was yellow.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we
Guy, umetupeleka.
So that day, my dad came and he told me, I bought you shoes. Okay. Unakumbuka, he said he will never buy me shoes. So me, I'm like, wow, shoes. Okay. Sawa. So I go open the paper bag. I see cabbage. Okay. Sawa. Sio cabbage. Okay. Wacha tutoe. Napata kwa gazeti. Vitu zimefungwa. So me, I'm excited. I open high-heeled shoes. Design, okay, almost kama...
Usiseme kama hizi zangu.
But si boots, but feminine. So mi niko, hizi si ni za Hilda. Hapana, ni zako. Yeah. Akaniambia soul tutakata. Akina kwambia that thing. Yani nakwambia Faith and D. I used to go to school and my primary classmates can attest to this. Nilikuwa naingia class mapema.
Na nakuwa mwisho kutoka.
Na natoka kwa mwisho. Nilikuwa nachekelewa. Yani it was so bad. And that thing really affected me. Because that was how my dad was. And I'm not saying to blame him. But my dad was that way. And for me, this verse, it really speaks to me in the sense that I'm learning that I shall not be like my dad.
That shows that it shows you're being a bigger person here. You're trying to make a difference.
Exactly.
You're trying to change the narrative.
Yeah.
And you're breaking the norm that you are used to.
Yeah.
And acclimatized to.
Yeah.
Only.
Very.
Na nyinyi sahi ni kitu ya kubambika. Hata nilikuwa naambiwa na Maina ati hiyo time nilikuwa nafaa kufanya ningekuwa nafanya PPI ama vitu hizo. Ningekuwa nafanya Palm Sunday.
Katie Steve did not say that.
Ni wewe ndo ulisema.
He said that.
Steve, confirm.
Steve comment in the
He said
on
that
the
by
comment below.
True or false?
Sawa.
I don't think so.
True, he said that.
Inaka kitu unaweza sema.
Ndio hiyo sasa. How was it in relation to this verse?
In terms of favorism, I have never seen that been portrayed at home.
Did he buy for you ladies machi clothes?
We were called the Three Musketeers. It was for a reason before our last born came. It was for a reason. Kama unanunua ya huyu lazima ikwe replica. So my dad came from not a well-off family, and they really struggled. And I think him being the firstborn, he was very intentional in terms of giving his children what he never got.
Yeah.
Trying to, let's call it an upgrade of life. And he ensured that whatever because his relation with his parents was, it's not about favorism, but nile tu just being parents. You're just being the figurative guardian. And at home, he really made sure that there was a balance when it comes to being parenting, doing things. I remember there's a time we were doing shopping. Christmas, there's usually that norm of you buy things just to ensure we are celebrating Christmas Jesus. As a community. So my mom used to be given the task of looking for clothes for us. I remember my dad was very intentional during that season. He'd made sure everyone has been allocated a certain amount of money that would be enough for the three of us. Yes. There was no ati uyu atapata, uyu apate next time. It was always a balance. And that's the rhythm, the what we always got from my parents and from my dad. I remember there's a time he told us when he was growing up, he was bought for a shoe, first time. And he was so happy about it. He even showed us a photo. He has a really torn short and you can kiraka, but he has a brand new shoe. He was very proud of it. The fact that his own father was able to buy for him. And he was like, I will not do that for my daughters. I'd really work hard, be very selfish so that he'd be able to provide a very good living for his. So favorism was never there at home. He really made sure that there was a balance in all of us.
Okay.
And what was the other?
The other one is to exasperate to the point of resentments with demands that are trivial, like kuwa number one. Unajua my parents, me, my mom, but me, this is true story. My mom used to be number one or number two. This one I can attest. My grandma told me that, and her sister told me that. She was a chopi. But unasikianga my parents wote wanasemanga mimi nilikuwa number one.
Of course, number one. Na hakuna evidence. There's no, there is.
They're manifesting. Through you.
No, power of the tongue. Power of the tongue. Lazima ikue. I mean, every child would always put their parents in a certain pedestal. If you're gifted enough to have two parents in a setup, in a family setup, you'd always put your parents in a certain wacha tuseme idol, but you put them in a certain pedestal. And you'd always think there's no imperfection. It's always perfection to the T. So there's no way you would say ati your parents have a certain flaw. You'd always look at them with no blemish. Yes. Yeah. So akuna. So in terms of this,
did they ever do anything that like made you resent them? Like, were they...
Resent is a very strong word.
Yeah. But that's what the Bible is.
There are moments you don't like your folks.
I would not say resent, but kuna mali, I remember I had just finished high school. And I was remember I told you I did art and design for 4 years. I remember there's a time during that period, we went for a trip at, shout out to BIFA, Buruburu Institute of Fine Art. It was known as, I'll not say Maya, then it was known as the best art and design. Like if you went through that school, just know you'll be the most elite designer or artist.
Then.
So those guys, we got, in my high school, we got the art and design class, we got to visit that school. And I remember I went to that school, nikiangalia hivi kila mahali niko. Hii shule ni lazima nije. I have to go to this school. Everything about it was just wow to me. And I was really fixated the fact that I have to go to this school. So I went, gathered all the information, because my dad he's a stickler of facts. You need to give him this, what's your plan, what's the structure, that's how he is. I made sure I got the fee structure, I got the pamphlets, I got everything. So I made sure I gathered all the whatevers. So fast forward, we finished high school. I did my KCSE. Then afterwards, I told my dad, this is the school I want to go. See, people usually take that 1 year break.
Yeah.
Me, I never took a break. I went to school immediately. So he was like, this is what you want to do. Okay, fine, I'll support you. So I enrolled. So when I did there was an interview you have to do, which I passed. So it was a 1 year program. I did up until, I think, the 3rd month. I was like, this is not working. I transitioned into interior design. So when I transitioned into interior design, I loved it. My teachers were just the best. The 3 months had quished. Now the next 3 months, I remember that time I was just about to finish the semester. We were about to do exams. And so I'm telling my dad, hey, me, I'm preparing. I want to do, there's a model. So in interior design, you have to do a floor plan. So you have to do modeling. So you have a cupboard, you do a rendition, like a mock-up or something. So you have to do that. So I remember I was preparing for that, and my dad was like, you're not going to continue? I can't be that, you're joking. What are you saying? I have to finish. It's a 1 year program. I'm almost about to do my exams. Here I am doing my project. He was like, you're not going to proceed to do art or interior design. So I sat and I asked him, so Dad, why do you want me to not to stop? Yeah. And you know very well I'm very passionate about this. You could tell, even my lecturers could tell this. Yeah. This one, she's at home. She's just being herself. So I remember he told me, I'm not seeing there's any future with regards to this career. And so what I'm seeing is that you'd do marketing. Because he knew I was a very bubbly person. I'm a sanguine.
You can sell anything.
I can sell
the firstborn.
Naweza uza maji kwenye Kalahari desert. Lakini to negotiate spot on. That's what he saw. Me, I never saw it. And so I told him, hey Dad, marketing, what is that? I don't even know what that is. Mi najua kuchora. As in, that is what I know. I remember that time we had a back and forth argument with him. It reached a place he was like, I'm not going to pay for your fees.
Hey, hapo ndo unajua mwenye nyumba ni nani?
It's done. And of course, my mom would heed to the head of the family. Yeah, kuna shingo na kuna kichwa. Hapo ndo unajua the difference. Anyway, so I was really bitter. I was mad. I was mad at him. I am telling you, it reached a place I was not even talking to him. So fast forward, he now started looking. He was like, these are the options of the schools that I'd want us to have a look at them. But I think it's best for you to do marketing. I'm like, marketing? No. So we ended up now looking for school. Then I settled for Marist. I remember he took me for the interview. We enrolled, we did all that. Me, that time I'm like, I'm still going to draw. I'm not going to stop drawing. Sbanduki. I'm not going to stop. So I even started a side hustle in that school. Selling. I was very business oriented then. I don't even know where that went, but fast forward, I was like, what did you see? And imagine I ended up liking now that marketing. I ended up doing my undergrad in marketing. Like he foresaw the future. I did not see. Thanks, Dad. Who knows?
This is a good case.
This is si ati nilifanya degree ati nikamfanyia and then no, I didn't do that. And I think that was the one time that I remember top of mind that it's not resentment, but I was very mad at him. I didn't. I was like, you're supposed to support me. But then, anyway, I didn't turn out badly. We thank God.
Yeah. That's a good question. I think for me, I had, again, 3 phases. So in the phase where we were a bit detached with my dad, I didn't resent him, but I didn't like him. I was just like, why? Because I used to wonder, now I am to my friend. Now I am to my friend. Want to be nice. So I used to have very many moments where I would just be like silently be angry at him for something, and I couldn't understand, and I didn't feel like I had the right to ask certain things, and I'm like, but I just want to communicate with you. I love you so much. So I just didn't know how to communicate the silent anger I had carried for quite a few years, because I felt like a friend was taken away, or rather like a friend like retracted their friendship from me or their love from me. So I thought love, yeah. So I remember there's a time when I was going through bullying in high school. Mimi nilikuwa naandikianga wazazi wangu letters nikiwaambia venye nitajimada. By the way, hey guys, trauma. If there's anyone I think was tried to commit suicide wakiwa shule. Mara kama sijui ngapi ni mimi. As in I used to wake up nimemeza jik. I used to jag jik. And sijui I would try and do also I would swallow it, because for me I'm just thinking I can't exist in this level of pain anymore. I was willing to do anything. So I'd write letters to them. I'm like, guys, please remove me from this school. I don't like it. I'm not being treated well. I can't survive. I'm not functioning. As in, I'm mentally frustrated. I'm emotionally tormented. And they never used to listen. I think for them, they used to just think, this one just wants to go to another. And for a long time, it was not just my mom, but my dad, but both of them. I was just like, you guys are wicked. Why? Why don't you see the pain that I'm going through? As in, it never used to understand. And I felt like they didn't love me. Later on, I think a few years, probably ago, my dad was unwell in hospital. And I don't know what made me just bring up that story. And I was like, Mom and Dad, unajua venye nilijaribu kujua nikiwa shule. Mara mingi. And my dad actually sat up and he's like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, Mom, yeah, Dad. And I told them like now what actually was happening. And I didn't think they thought bullying was that. Because I think ilikuwa like, life will be hard on you. Chapa, nyanyasa kidogo ni hali ya maisha. They didn't think it was that bad. And so I remember my dad, after I think we had that conversation, he would, because you'd have a conversation with them and then they would have their debrief as a couple. So when they were debriefing, my mom was like, my mom came to tell me, hey, that story really disturbed your dad. Because he never knew that, and he was like very, very sorry about that experience. Because he'd keep asking mom, and he's like, so kusema, yani kusema Diana was serious. And like yani, she was actually going through a hard time in school. So I think for me at that time, when I just felt like my parents weren't being my parents in terms of protecting me or like believing me when I was literally going through what I would call, in fact, nasemanga Mungu, high school, primary, I would not want to repeat those experiences. Hata unilipe na pesa gani, I would never, ever want to go back to those years. Worst times of my life. And so I think my mom did eventually come and tell me, your dad and I are very sorry. We didn't think it was that bad. We thought you just didn't want to be in that school and were coming up as children. When you unasema, ni watoto. That's what kids do. That's what they do. They're just trying to manipulate you. And I was like, guys, I was not trying to manipulate you. I was actually literally dying. Yeah, I was actually going through the worst of experiences. So I think, yes, I did have those moments where I did not like my parents or didn't want like my dad. But also, in many ways, they were pretty fair. Having 6 kids, you had no option but to equalize. Okay, because we were all very vocal, and I wouldn't say huge personalities, but we were a very diverse family. Okay, so it was a matter of lakini hapa ndipo mimi uzusha nasemanga enye kuvaa nguo za my hand me downness. I was hand me downs to the downst of the downst, as in could get a new outfit. It was only Christmas. That was the only time I would have nguo yenye ni yangu. It's mine. Otherwise, because I had 3 lovely sisters ahead of me, ilikuwa tu just keep getting, keep getting the remnant. Like honestly, at some point, I used to, hey. And then I was so tiny. I was so tiny. In fact, sometimes I wish I was a bigger baby so that now I could not. I had my own thing. Oh my God, guys.
This ni kiatu ya Karo.
Si vitabu, si nguo, si. Hey, so at some point I even used to tell my parents, I used to tell my mom, please get another sibling, because I was finding it very,
pass it down.
Yeah, so that now I can also now be the bully. Come on, I can transcend the behavior. And I was like, no. Yes. Like, I honestly, guys, I cannot explain how frustrated I was as a child. I was just like, no, it is not fair, because I would go to other people's homes and I'm seeing, yes, they're siblings, but like, watu wako na vitu mpya. It wasn't that bad. We were pretty well off, but the point was, as in, I just felt like I never had anything that was mine until Christmas. Na nika-outfit tu kamoja. And so that thing really frustrated me. And I used to try to convince my parents to get another kid so that I can have. Now I can also do the same. In fact, my mom would just send me to God. She'd say, I wouldn't have cared. Just somebody else who was now after me, so that I can also now feel like, hey, even me, I have a nini. I have something. But they pretty much, we shared a lot of things. Like we were treated equally. My siblings, however, have a different testimony. I'm not here to speak on their behalf. They think I was favored. I was not. But being the last born, they have like, you are spoiled. Nyinyi hata hamkuchapwa. Nyinyi sijui hata hamkupitia sijui 1, 2, 3 things. Yet, they used to use me to get things, especially my brothers. Love you guys. But they used to use me to get things from my dad. So atakuja niambia, enda mwambie dada akupe Xbox. Enda useme tu. And then I'd go, Daddy, please, I want to get and then dad buys. I will never play with that thing. They would come wanaita mabeshte wao wanakuja tu wana have my activity Saturday, napewa tu ka chance ya kucheza Mortal Kombat 1 round. And they have been playing FIFA then. I was a very bitter. I did not like my siblings. I love you guys, but you really took me through a lot. But anyway, so my parents, I think they did try to make things very fair. They did try to make things equal as best as they could. They didn't favor us per se. They loved us. They were very generous. And then another thing was that our family also had a lot. Like, we were never just us. My parents, I always say they have loved beyond their blood. They don't know the boundaries of bloodlines in terms of how far their generosity and their love reaches. They have adopted, they have invested, they have taken care. So our home was always, and then some. We were always an overflow of a home. Yeah, so we were always cousins or aunties or relatives. So it was never, so tumezoea tu kushare. Tumezoea tu vitu ni za kila mtu. So even up to today, I find it very hard when people are stingy or selfish, because me, I don't understand that language. I'm just like, if you have because you can also share or also bless somebody else. So
Something they did in you.
Yeah.
Nikirudi back to hand me down. Imagine I used to wear my sister's shirt. Serious. And my sister's sweater. So my sister was in a school that she would wear a green sweater and a white shirt. I was in Aga Khan. Aga Khan, you wear a green sweater and a white shirt.
Yeah.
So my sister's shirt had the school's badge.
What?
So I would never remove my sweater.
Oh, because imeandikwa something guys.
Yani inaweza nikaingia hivi class watu wafikiri mimi ni wa shule ingine. And I had a trouser yenye iko ya shule ilibaiwa tu Gikomba. My mama aliangalia Aga Khan. Sawa.
Si walikuwa navaa chini black?
Beige. Yani that was how I survived high school. I used to wear my sister's clothes. Anyway, but it was because of poverty for us. But here we are now. Now, let me take us to like this other segment before we come to the end. This guy talks about 4 things that fathers are able to impute on children that can help you to become and to walk in your identity, because he says, and also other books say that fathers confer identity. And part of this, the four things, the first one is love. The second one is structure. The third one is roots. And the fourth one is wings. So when it comes to love, he talks about him. He was never given a hug until when he was like, I think 47. And he was told, I love you, if I'm not wrong, when he was 50.
By his father?
By his father. And you see also this thing can be pegged on the way, I don't know if it's boomers, parents express love is different.
It's true.
Because for them, maybe they express love by paying fees. They express love by
Provision.
buying food from the deeds. But this man is explaining, when it comes to love, you have to show your children that they are appreciated. You tell them that you love them and you hug them. As in, you have to make them know that they are loved. Does it make sense? The other one, alafu tuonge. The other one is structure. And structure helps you to know that there are guardrails, where the guardrails are. And it's like, yes, I love you, but I won't give you some stuff. There are some things I can't give you now, even though you want. And it also helps you to build confidence by knowing your everyday rules. And you see, for some people, you find, because I went to ChatGPT and I asked about the impact of lack of a father. And one, the children that were not brought up by a father or lacked a father figure is one, there is no structure. That's why they seek validation. And also they were not loved. I think I'll get to that. The other one is roots. And you see, the deeper the root, the more stable you will be as an individual and also as a family. And it's for stability to be able to flourish. And roots build character. You're able to persevere. It builds determination, resilience, and it also brings a sense of security. Because you know you can run to when it comes to difficult times. And difficult times will always be there. The last one is wings. And wings, they prepare you to be a woman where the parents have instilled some belief system. Ushaisikia someone growing up and they are old, but they say, my mom or my dad used to say. And those are the things that you can hold on to. And these are the beliefs that help you when it comes to things like competence, managing emotions, developing autonomy, establishing identity, fostering interpersonal relationships, and also to discover a sense of purpose and cultivating personal integrity. When it comes on love, structure, roots, and wings, how was it for you people?
I consider my parents boomers, I believe. Yes, I think they are.
They're boomers.
Boomers.
After boomers, millennials.
Gen X.
Gen X.
Yeah. Boomers, Gen X.
Boomers near what
millennials,
age?
Gen Z. Boomers. I think watu wa World War,
19,
after World War.
19, probably.
I can't remember when it comes to that.
60s, 70s.
Yeah.
60s, 70s. Okay. Boomers,
X.
X. Hey, Kwanzaa, when you say about hugging, I think, let me just speak into that, because my mom is not a hugger. She's not very touchy, but she has her way of expressing love. I think for her, it's, when we look at the 5 love languages, for her, it's words of affirmation. And I think service to some extent. For my dad, him, it's words of affirmation, service. So I think wote wako somewhere there. So in terms of hugging, I think I now got the opportunity to be fully hugged by my dad when I was in my 30s, if not 20s. And I think he had, hey. utakata. Itabidi ukate. Itabidi ukate.
Kukata.
Please. Kata. Na si keki. He was always, when growing up, he was always a very tough. He'd not show Katie.
Emotional.
Yes, he's a very emotional person.
Yeah.
But
He had to put up a face.
he had a certain way of but when it came to showing and expressing love was provision. And I think for him, he knew he's nailed it. Up until I think when he retired, is when now we saw a different side of him that we never got to see when we were growing up and when he was working.
Yeah.
Hey, one day he just came. So most of the time is usually up country. So when he'd come, he'd give us a hug. Hey, me, the first time was like, wait, ni wewe? Like I couldn't believe that he would give a hug, and it reached a place where we now started acclimatizing the fact that he's now showing love in a very different way. And is it because being in shags, he doesn't have much interaction with his family? So when he gets to see them, he has a way of now showing and expressing. For my mom, it's very different because she has a way of expressing love in terms of either words and maybe acts of service. So that's on the aspect of love.
Love, yeah.
And then the second one is my dad. If there wasn't structure, I don't think hata ningewai exist. Ningekuwa nime-exist on neither my siblings, because there's so many aspects even my mom has learned from my dad in terms of doing things in a meticulous way. I usually joke both my parents are like wakona an aspect of OCD to them, and that's also attributed to so many other things, I think, for them growing up. And I remember my dad used to tell us, you have to plan your life. So lazima ujipange. That's how he'd say it.
Yeah.
In terms of life, you just don't exist. Yeah. You have to have a certain plan. You need to have a certain structure, if I may say. I remember from a very young age, he really instilled the aspect of saving, discipline. And discipline in terms of keeping time, because he is a stickler of time. As you say, they used to reflect on the fact that he's actually in the car waiting for you guys. You would not keep him. That's my dad. You don't.
I think it's a man thing.
Waiting.
Hey, don't keep him waiting. And now he has 5 ladies. Shida. As in, we really tried, man. Sorry, Dad. We tried. Like we really did. So when it comes to savings, being able to keep a record of your time, being structural in terms of if you're studying, you need to plan yourself, balance and all that stuff. He really ensured that all that was really instilled in us.
Yeah.
And above all, he kept God as the first thing. Wow. And that is one of the foundations that he's always ensured that we've had, taking us to Sunday school and all that stuff. And he made sure that foundation was very solid, as well as my mom.
Yeah.
So that is structure.
The third one is roots. Roots is for stability to flourish, and it helps to build your character, perseverance, determination, and resilience. So
there's a lot to learn from how both my parents were actually brought up. So specifically now we're talking about fathers, how my dad was actually brought up. And being the firstborn, as I mentioned, he was always focused. And he ensured that he has siblings. He comes from a family of 5, and he's the firstborn. He always made sure that whatever he does, he knows there are people behind him and they're looking at him as an example. And I remember he gave us a story when he first came to Nairobi and he was coming to look for work. And he was really determined to find a job and to make a difference in his life, to make a difference in his siblings as well. Remember, he comes from not a well-off family, and he really ensured that he had to change the narrative, come what may.
Yeah.
So when he came to Nairobi, he did a number of interviews, and one, I'll not mention the company. When he went into that interview, I remember he did not even do any application. It's his resilience and determination. So what he did, so there are a number of people who've lined up to do the interview. So everyone went. So he's just gauging and looking. And he's a very observant individual. And psychology, I think he learned from a very young age. And he didn't know what it is up until when he grew up and he knew this is psychology. And so everyone went. So the person who was now ushering him asked him, did you submit your interview papers and whatever? He's like, yeah, I submitted. Can you just try and look for those papers? And so that guy, whoever he was talking to, he was so confused. He's like, I don't see any application. I mean, I can see the ones I have, but there's no, your name is not there. So the person, one of the interviewees, I think he was the chairman or something, came and got to see the interaction between the two of them, my dad and that other person. And he's like, Kwani, what's going on? What's the delay and what's the commotion all about? And so that guy was like, this gentleman claims to say that he has actually done the application and all that stuff. And he's like, no, he hasn't given any papers. He's like, okay, it's fine. Since he's here, we might as well continue the interview. So he went for it. Remember, he didn't even apply for it.
Wow.
He was so determined that I have to do an interview here.
Kujituma. If Kujituma was a person,
would be my father. And the spirit and the zeal of being very determined that I have to do it shows a lot about his character and the faith that he has that this one has to happen. As I don't know how, but it has to.
Wow.
So those are some of the things that I picked and borrowed from my dad and instilled in all our siblings and ensured.
Nice.
Yes, I mean, you don't have to be qualified. And this is what he usually says. You don't have to be qualified, but as long as you have that leap of faith and you've showed up, it's enough. You don't have to have all those papers. Because I think he was not qualified. All those other people, I'm sure they had all the straight. But I think during the interview, they really saw the determination and the zeal from this young man and how curious he is to actually learn. I think that is how I can sum up some of the things that I learned from my dad and has been instilled in all of us.
Wow, awesome. The last one is wings.
Wings.
Yeah,
break
wings
it down.
Prepares you to be a woman. These are the beliefs, though I think you've talked about it.
Okay.
In terms of you being autonomous, now that they've instilled those beliefs in you, now you can be able to soar.
I think one of the gifts that my parents or my dad actually gave us is having the interaction with God, being introduced to faith, being introduced to church. And they were very intentional. If there's one of the core foundations that they gave us was that. And I think it has shaped us in many ways. My sisters can speak for themselves, but if I was to speak for myself, I'd say that they really instilled spirituality in us. That's one of the core things that helped us to propel in the society, in our workplaces, in interacting with people. It's very key. I don't think I'd exist, all of us would, as a family, if were it not for God.
Wow.
Yeah.
True.
So that's the wings beat.
Interesting. And you, Madzam?
Yeah, so for me, love, absolutely.
You already we know.
Yes, that one, yes, you guys know. Yeah. Yeah, he did love us and nurtured us as best as he could. I think one of the things I absolutely love about my dad, always and forever will, was just how he's this kind of personalities where he's such an observer. As in, alikuwa tu ule mse anakusoma anakuelewa, and even if he will have his internal judgments, he will never make you feel like you're a miss. Like like atakuwa tu like, okay, Faith, you're a bit nini, but he'll never make you feel out of place. So I just loved that about his heart. And then regarding structure, we had structures in our family. There was time for not watching TV. There was time for homework. There was time for playtime. There was time for chores. And because as we were many, I call our family household experience a beautiful chaos. There's just always a lot happening. So I think we did have structure. He did instill in us discipline. Again, like I said, there were things that he just could not allow or tolerate in his house, as well as my mom. So they did instill in us certain structures that helped us, kind of have a pattern and normalcy in our day-to-day. And then the other one was roots. We are rooted in loving one another, I believe. I think I was chatting with my sister, I think a week or two ago, one of my sisters, and we were just discussing how our family, we do love one another, and we are very intentional about spending time together and going for family events together. And it's something that other families, like for us, it is so kawaida, and other people look at us and like, hey, you guys are very special, you guys are very, and us guys are like, bare minimum, as in, it's just who we are. It's just who we are. We have game nights. We just love each other. At some point, we didn't always like each other. But as you grow up, you just realize it's the tensions of relationships. You will have conflict. You will not like each other. But the root of it always remains that you are siblings. You are family. You always come together. Those are some of the major roots our parents instilled in us, that we have each other to rely on, to walk this journey of life with. So I do consider my siblings my friends, which was a very long prayer. Oh, thank you, Jesus. It's been years of tiring, but we finally got there, where they're actually my friends. So they've instilled those deep family values of community, just fellowship, values of generosity. I think when I look at my siblings and the things they do for our extended family, and I'm always like, wow, this is not something that is just innate. It's also something we've seen our parents live out, and it's now second nature to us. Like when we see a need, we want to find ways to resolve, address. We come together. We bring the little of the much that we have to just provide. There's a time my brother had this great idea before COVID, and we used to do it. Was like a food drive, and we would changa money, and every Saturday we would come to town, all of us, including friends. We would come to town and feed people. So we would buy milk, it was bread, eggs, milk, and something, and a banana, and we would come at like 6 asubuhi. Munakuja mnaenda mkitafuta watu wamelala kwa barabara, mnaenda mkiwapea. And for me it was always something, and we've always been like that. Even for me, I've gotten mugged in tao juu nilikuwa nasaidia mtu, because hiyo kitu mimi unisumbua, niko like, okay, let me buy you food, let me I don't know how to see a need and not want to offer a solution or some sort of support, and those are things that we have gotten from our parents, their generosity and their love and just their kindness. Even when we didn't have, like, mimi hata nashanganga, there's a time my mom tells us stories of how she used to sell things so that she could get school fees for us. And me, I would think, because mom alikuwa anatutuma anatuambia, hey, go tell your teachers to buy this. And me, I would go so happily, because I'm just thinking my mom is entrepreneurial and she's so diverse and she's Wonder Woman. Kumbe, uko kwa ground, things were thick, but still, even then, she would still give if I need a rose. She would still give. Like, they still, we were never in a place where those constantly overflow, but even in the times when things were so thick and difficult, my family and my parents always give. And that thing, I hope, is a legacy that I will continue to carry, and our siblings will continue to carry, because it's not something that is common, and I'm so privileged and honored to have such awesome parents. So those are some of the things that they instilled in us, the root things, the values that they have given us as their children. Yeah, and I think I can say that. And finally, regarding wings, I am a good balance of my mom and my dad. Yeah. My dad is a very resilient man, very hardworking. He loves living in harmony and peace with people. Bede babangu ni wale watu, yani umse hakuwa na drama. Well, dad, I'm really trying. People are making it hard out here, but I'm trying. He didn't have drama. Like, that guy was genuinely a well-loved human being. Like, no tongue could dare raise an accusation against him. He was so kind. Yani alikuwa tu msee mpoa, yani roho safi tu. Same as my mom. These guys, I usually look at them, I'm like, as in, please, like, just give us the 411, because as in, they're just incredible human beings. And so I think I got a good blend of both of them. My mom, I have a personality of loving people, nurturing. I wouldn't say she's funny, because me, I find her very funny. People don't find me funny, but my siblings find me funny. So yeah, I think I take that from her as well. She's just a queen in so many ways, and mamangu anakuanga yani dressed to, she always shows up. She doesn't even try. As in, it's just who she is. And I think I also adopted that. So I'm a good blend of the two of them, and they have equipped me as a human being, one, to always never give up on my dreams. At some point, yes, my dad wasn't particularly keen on me doing music. Neither was my mom. They appreciated the fact that I loved God and I wanted to serve God. But the music school, nini ili struggle. So I never got the opportunity to do music. But not to say, if I ever came to them and I'm like, guys, I have been called to go to the States for this and this trip, they would be like, oh, okay, that's a great opportunity. And then they would try and figure out, okay, let's see how we can, how we can come together and rally up behind you and see how you can, fulfill this. So they have shown me support in the wildest. And when I look back, I'm like, as a child, I'm sure there are times I did not make sense as a human being. I'm like, I'm sure they used to go like, no, what are you? And why? Just why? But even in those moments, they still, chose to rally behind and say, okay, we may not understand, but let's see what we can do. Yeah, we may not fully agree. Yeah, but let's see what we can do. And so I think for me, it's helped me to know that when people are graced for you, you will thrive. Yeah, when God has allowed people to love on you and see you for who you are, you will definitely thrive. And the beauty about not giving up on people, not giving up on yourself, and the thing of just keep moving, keep going. You are able. You may not be at par with everybody else, because also in our household, tuko nao I'm a genius. Wamejaa huko. Yeah. Me, I'm a genius as well. Just it translates differently. I did well in school, but I also was like, I just did not like for me, it was more of a struggle. It wasn't second nature. But even then, and sometimes I would find myself comparing, they're always like, no, like you are who you are. And we love you for who you are. And I think over time, even as we grew older, they have tried to really affirm the differences in us, not making us feel like, hey, you're not like your sister, you didn't go to do law, you didn't do. They're like, oh no, okay, Diana is in the arts, or she's in this space. And they loved and celebrated us for who we were. I think celebration is another thing. I think as a family, one of the great things they've instilled, my parents rather, is it's good to celebrate the small things and the big things in life. Like for us, birthdays have always been a thing. And I would get so offended when my friends would not celebrate, because I'm like, but sister, like, I've not known any other way. It's not a me problem. I've just not known any other way. My birthdays have always been a big deal and still are. And we just celebrated the small wins of life. Yeah. Oh, so this thing has happened. We celebrate. Oh, these things have happened. We celebrate. Even 2 days before my dad passed away, I had graduated from a discipleship program I was doing, and the last thing I wanted was to celebrate. I didn't want to attend that graduation. I just wanted to be in hospital with my dad. But mom was like, no, we will come support you. It's a great achievement. To me, I'm thinking, guys, certainly degree, it's just a kaka. So I'm like, no. And they showed up and they celebrated, and they even bought me a cake. And it was just like a whole thing. And I was just like, what? And even my dad, the last M-Pesa transaction he made on this life was for me. Yeah. Because I came and he was like, congratulations, mom. And I was like, thanks, dad. And then I made like a joke. And I was like, hey, dad, but your congratulations is so light. It's very light. And he just laughed. And then he went on his phone cheekishly up or two, side note, akatuma pesa. And I think they did make us feel celebrated. And even now with my siblings' children, like my nieces and nephews, I've seen how that culture of affirmation, celebration, encouragement, it just being transcended down in our generations.
Full. I think, let me say this and then we are going to have a parting shot, what you can say in relation to what I'll say. So I mentioned about ChatGPT that mentions about people who were not brought up with fathers or father figures. Some have been underfathered, unfathered, or misfathered, like I mentioned. And one, they are struggling with identity, their self-worth, self-esteem is low, they seek validation from men and all those things. And you find there's emotional security and attachment issues. They have trust issues. You feel like they feel that someone will leave them. Someone will leave them. So they have and they have avoidance, attachment style in relationships. You find that they struggle to make boundaries when it comes to relationships or something. You find that decision making and their confidence is actually very low. They second guess themselves. You find that the spiritual development is not there because now the man is the masculine expression of God. In fact, one of my friends, Sylvia, I'm sure you know Sylvia Nelson. Sylvia, I've seen her. She talked about being raised by her dad, and her dad was present. And in fact, she's in the Identity Project book. Some of the things I learned and I saw in her is her confidence level is way up there. As in, that girl speaks a lot of faith. Yani, when it comes to faith, she can say this thing will happen. And it will happen. She is well groomed. You find that the way she talks, the way she carries herself, as in, these are some of the contrasts and contrasts when it comes to you having a father figure or a father in your life. Another thing when it comes to symptoms of someone who has not been raised by a father, now this is from the book, you find that people do not take, like when you're being appreciated, you do not take it, it's like, unani appreciate ya nini? Because already you have a negative approach towards life because your father wasn't there. And you find that there are dramatic mood swings and you don't know why. You find that you have hard time believing that people really care for you. You find that you're oversensitive and you misread what people intend. You feel like people don't love you. And then you find that you're easily angered. You find you are insecure and you need constant reassurance. You need to be reassured every now and then. You can't get rid of negative voices. Because remember, if you have a father, your father will tell you, hey, Faith, manze, you can do this. Hey, you are a great woman. You're becoming great and all that. But since you do not have, you find that you are like insecure in the place that you are vulnerable to the negative voices that may come and actually destroy your identity. And you find also the last one is your identity is in what you do. Like if you are excelling in school, that is your identity. So if it is taken away, you are like, you do not exist. These are some of the things. And we are not here to say that if you are not raised without a father figure or a father, that you will not succeed in life. There are people and women who have been brought up without father figures. But one of the things, and there are great people, I did a research, there are great women, and I'm sure you also know that were not raised by father figures or fathers. But one of the things that people can be able to do, like I mentioned, in your body, if you miss nutrients, what people do is you're given supplements. That's why God can be able to place you, or maybe your parents, or maybe your aunties can be able to place you in places that you get the supplements for what you are lacking, so that you do not get to the place that we are talking about all these symptoms. And that means that we too can be able to succeed in life, and also the ladies that haven't been brought up by father figures. Maybe one thing that you will say when it comes to someone who maybe hasn't experienced both parents, or maybe one parent, and maybe for the people that have parents, what can you tell them, especially the father?
For those who do not have father figures, it's very unfortunate, but all hope is not lost. I'd really advise them to, first of all, seek a relationship with God as a focal point. I'd encourage you to put your focus in God, have that intentionality, and make the relationship worthwhile by allowing Him to build you, learn and unlearn things, do an overhaul within your life, so that you're able to now be a better person within the society and the people around you. So for the one who has a father figure, consider yourself blessed, because not many people have it, and you cannot take it for granted, because even your fathers, they're human beings just as you. And they have flaws. They have their strengths, they have their weaknesses. However, just know they are showing up to the best of their ability. And being able to appreciate that and look at it from that perspective, you'd be able to also try and learn from their weak areas and the faults that they actually had, and be better.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll just say not having a dad by choice or by design never takes away from who you are. It doesn't make you less of a human being, less worthy, less lovable, less. It doesn't take away anything. And yes, it is a privilege to have a father figure in your household. Even some of us that did have dads in our homes, we still have symptoms, of as if we didn't have some a father, because again, they are not perfect. They made mistakes. There's some situations that just flew over their heads. Because they're human. They're also sons. My dad lost his dad at a young age, and he had to be a father, a sub-husband to the mom. He had to be an uncle. He had so many people and so many things that he was doing. Sometimes I just feel like, Dad, were you ever a son? Were you ever actually a son? And now that he's in glory, he gets to be a son. But all to say, they are human beings who, some of them, life never dealt them a gracious father. They had no example no template to use on how to be a father. Some of them were navigating on the go, and they will make mistakes. But all to say that God is never surprised, never caught off guard by these situations. He is very ready, always has been, very present, because He is our eternal and heavenly Father. Please hold your head up high, son and daughter, and just know that somebody out there who is Jesus Christ loves you with all his heart, and has given everything and anything for you. Don't be afraid to walk this journey. My challenge to each and every one of us would be that God would help us to acknowledge that, yes, this is the card that life has dealt me. Lord, would you turn it around for my good? May I not miss out on any opportunity of becoming who you've called me to become, because somebody somewhere lacked to be what God wanted them to be in my life. Do not allow the enemy to take that from you. So live life fully, live life boldly. Whether or not you're the dad, there will never be another human being like you. You are unique, you are needed, you are valued. Nothing can change that, nothing can erase you.
Amen. And now that is becoming who God has called you to be, so that you live victoriously and lead others to do the same. Until we meet again. Bye.
Adios. God bless you. Stay awesome.
Aya.